between San Francisco and San Jose, Silicon Valley. And so we're about 75 kilometers between sort of where Silicon Valley started in San Francisco. And then in the 1990s and 2000s, it wasn't just chips, it was hardware, it was computers, and all of the sort of stuff around computers, modems and stuff like that. But it continued to grow, and then the internet started in the late 90s, and that all exploded in Silicon Valley. So Silicon Valley got bigger, and then in the early 2000s, it grew again with social media, Facebook, Google. There were a whole bunch of other startups, Twitter is there, Pinterest, and on and on. And Silicon Valley just keeps doing this. It keeps coming up with these new ideas. And there are all the companies that you know about, like Google and Facebook and Twitter and Apple, but there are thousands, literally thousands of companies that you've never heard of. And they all want to be the next Google. Maybe not Facebook so much, but they all have ambitions. They all want to be doing something that is relevant to people. And the reason that Silicon Valley exists is because we have this amazing intersection of talent. So these are all universities that are very close. They're all within, maybe 50 or 80 kilometers. San Jose State is a California school in the South Bay, over here. Santa Clara University, also a very good university. We have Stanford, and then we have Berkeley. They're okay, but they're a rival. We also have one other really, really important thing in Silicon Valley. Besides having all of this talent, this big, talent engine, we've got money. Lots and lots of people who want to invest in all of these smart people. There's a road, let me see where we are here. So there's a road over that way about 2 kilometers called Sand Hill Road. And something like 60% of venture capital comes out of Sand Hill Road in Menlo Park, right next door. And that's part of the reason that Silicon Valley is so successful. We have all this talent, we have all this money, and there's one other element which I'll talk about in a second. This is Tesla. I have started to see Teslas in China, and it's amazing. Tesla started in Palo Alto, very close to here, and part of the reason Tesla started here is that magic intersection of talent and money, but also the Bay Area strangely has all of this manufacturing. It's got everything that you might need to build and create new hardware products. We also have all the tools to make software products also. And big, fancy, new cars like this are as much software as they are hardware. What I teach is materials and manufacturing. And I take my students on tours of local factories every week in the fall. And we go to almost every factory we go to is a supplier of Tesla. And without that manufacturing infrastructure, there could be no Tesla. Tesla would have to be somewhere else. So we have the ability to make things. We have a whole bunch of manufacturing piece, the building of it seems to largely happen in Shenzhen. Yeah. And how about this place? Who knows where this is? Anybody? That's Yiwu. Yiwu is a weird place. It's a place where everything comes together. And if you need to buy something and trade and sell and anywhere, anything, anywhere, you go to Yiwu. And so there are these places like Yiwu, Shenzhen. This is my favorite. This is Chengdu. I like very spicy food. But there are these places where this happens. But there's something kind of special about Silicon Valley, and this is the magic. This is what separates Silicon Valley from everywhere else. We are terrible. We fail all the time. And the story that you hear about startups and these big successful companies is not the story of Silicon Valley. The story of Silicon Valley is failure. And It is the most important element of Silicon Valley. I showed you this before. These were all these companies. I was at, let's see, where is it? I was at this company for 7 years as a startup. I was the 10th employee, maybe 12th employee. So it was a very small company. It got bigger, and then it got smaller, and then it went out of business. It happens all the time. So of all of these companies, almost all of them are gone. They almost all went out of business. And what's special about this is that it's normal. And actually, you learn more from a company that fails than from a company that succeeds. And so sometimes venture capitalists are looking for companies to invest in. They don't want someone who's on their first venture. They want someone who has made a bunch of mistakes and learned from it. So it may be their second or third or fourth venture. This company that I was at here, called Aptix, was started by a guy who had been a senior scientist at Intel. He had started a company that failed. He started another company that failed. He started another chip company that went public, and then he started this company, and then that one failed. But that's another story. But anyway, failure is the most normal thing there is, and not before I lecture. Occasionally, like I'll have a bottle, just in case, like I get a dry throat when I'm talking, like I'm lecturing, and I drink a lot of water when I exercise.
So what kind of drinks do you really like?
Mostly I like water and carbonated water.
Do you always carry a bag with you?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, pretty much.
And what are the things that are always in your bag?
Well, I have some papers. I've got all the stuff I need to run this. I always carry my clicker and like video adapter, and I have some Advil, and that's pretty much it.
So you didn't carry this huge bag, not a small bag?
I never carry a small bag. You guys are doing great. These are exactly the kinds of questions. You're asking both about like how I consume, but also these other things. Great questions. All right, so I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Remember, you're going to interview the tallest person in your group. I have one other thing that I want you to think about, and that is that you must take a lot of notes. Everything that person says is interesting. If you need Post-its and pens, there's some here. Write down everything that comes to you. Because later on, remember I talked about pattern matching? You have to have a lot of input. You need all of that. Write everything down. Please, please, please. You should be writing all the time. Okay? So I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Are you guys ready? All right. About what you heard from the interview, and I want you to come up with 2 or 3 needs. And remember the difference between a need and a feature. I'm going to say that about 5 more times, but remember the difference between a need and a feature. So what I want to see at the end is either a Post-it or a piece of paper that has one big square around it and something in the middle. That's the need. So in this example, it's another dog example. I don't know why, but it's another dog example. And the need was around hiking with dogs, and the hassle people have carrying stuff for their dogs when they. So here's hiking with dogs. This is designing for comfort. So whatever your need is. So 1 or 2 or maybe 3, at most 3 Post-its that are needs. Okay, that makes sense? Okay. I've said, solve for needs, not features. Here is an example. If you were talking about drinking, the need is, I need to drink 8 times a day. I actually don't think that's a need. I think that there's something else underneath that. Have you heard this before? You need to drink 8 glasses of water a day?
Yeah.
So, Is that a need? Well, I would go one more level down. Why do you think you need to drink 8 glasses a day?
This is healthy.
Healthy how?
Your body needs water.
Yes, your body needs water.
It's your blood. Keeps it clean.
Keeps your blood clean. Does it?
Well, it helps your metabolism.
It helps your metabolism.
Metabolism.
Yeah. Maybe. But if you could get at the why, skin.
Yeah.
Skin is what I always hear. People always say, oh, you need for healthy skin, you need to drink all this water. So I actually think the need might be healthy skin. Yeah.
And also better sleep quality.
Better sleep quality because you get up and pee all night long. I don't know about that. But I would say health actually here, that's, I could pull that apart a little bit too and say, well, health, you talked about, keeping your blood healthy or your skin or your metabolism, but you could go a little bit deeper into health too. This one, a cap with a timer that reminds you when to drink. What is that? That's a feature. That's not so good, so we don't want that. Some people say, when I drink a lot, my skin glows and I feel better about myself, and so the need might be around self-esteem. So don't solve the problem yet, only come up with a need. I know it's going to be very, very tempting to come up with features. Really do not come up with features yet, just the needs. This is the hardest part of the whole project, is to come up with those needs, okay? So you are not allowed to use these 3 as needs. Convenient, beautiful, and easy to use. And do you know why I won't let you use those words? Those as needs? They're very general. They tell you nothing. Convenient how? Convenient, like big, small, heavy, light. Is it like convenient when I'm sitting in a classroom? Convenient when I'm on the go? Like, what does that even mean? What does convenient mean? The other is easy to use. This is easy to use, and yet probably most of you have not noticed that every time I use this, I have to look at it because I can't feel the buttons. Right? So it's not that easy to use. What does easy to use even mean? Something that's easy for me to use, like a flow cytometer, you guys might not know how to use a flow cytometer. So easy to use doesn't mean anything.
Coach, you really want the water, but the water is in the kitchen. So we use this rope, and we connected with Siri. When I said that, I want water or I want some juice, then it just reply to my place and give me the things that I want. It's like, this is really simple, but I think it's useful for a lazy person like me.
It's really simple, except it's got a drone, and you got to code it to Siri, but I like that it is very simple, but very hard to make.
Okay.
Nice.
Hard and can be put. It's very later to be put in the bag.
Tell them.
Sorry. Okay, I will from.
And so we need to use a soft plastic bag to carry the water as a sorry, as a bottle, okay, anyway. And it can fold it like this way. And the fold it like a very house and house. And these things are sent for the Lego blocks, the round point on the Lego blocks, so it can lock together when I fold it. And it also can DIY with your Lego toys on it. You can write your logo on it by Lego blocks.
Cool. And is that part of it?
This is other prototype.
One prototype. Okay, thank you, nicely done. I think I knew maybe halfway through 7 years at that company, maybe after 3 or 4 years, that it was unlikely to succeed. But it's hard, you're all working to the same thing and you're all enthusiastic about it, and you see signs of success wherever you look, but you don't see the signs of failure. So it's very difficult. But we should have known much sooner. One of the problems with failure is that if you have a big ego, failing is really bad. So in Silicon Valley, we talk about companies that are called the walking dead. So they should be dead. They should not continue. But through pride, the founder will not let it die. I have a very close family member who was at a startup that was from the beginning, it was clear it was going to fail. And the owner, the founder, kept putting money in it, kept believing in it, until it finally went out of business. Philip, has Philip already?
Yeah.
Philip and others that I work with will often say, you can always get $2 million, but you can't get 2 years of your life. So you should be very careful about where you are investing your life. You can always get more money, but you can't get more time.